Don't expect us at your wedding. We're busy. My dad wrote it on a sticky note. I tore it, then tore up their $5,200 rent deal, unlinked my account from their utilities, and transferred the title to their car to my name, just to donate it. Don't expect us at your wedding. We're busy. My dad wrote it on a sticky note. Not a text. Not a call. A sticky note. Bright yellow, stuck on my fridge like a grocery list, crooked and smug. I stood there, holding the thing like it was proof of something I should have already known. Maybe I did. Maybe I'd known it for years and just refused to admit it. Still, reading those 8 words that sliced me cleaner than any fight ever could, felt like hearing "you were never the child we wanted" on paper. I remember exactly how the rest happened. I took the note, tore it once, then again, then into ribbons. After that, I grabbed the folder with the $5,200 rent deal I'd negotiated for them, a deal that let them live in a 3-bedroom flat for half of what it was worth. I tore that too, shredded the lease, unlinked my account from their electricity, water, gas, every bill they'd been too proud to say thank you for, every silent debt they pretended wasn't mine to carry. And then, I took the car. The 2016 Mazda CX-5 I bought for them 2 years ago to help them get around, registered under my name because their credit was garbage. I drove it to the local shelter, signed over the title, donated it to a charity that gives single moms rides to medical appointments. The same night, I changed my locks. That should have been the end. But the thing about people like them, they don't leave you alone when you finally say enough. They turn you into the villain of the story they wrote, the scapegoat of their failure. And for years, I let them. For years, I wore the role of the silent helper, the loyal fool, the financial crutch. Until that note. That sticky note turned something off in me, or maybe on. Maybe it woke up the version of me that still had a spine. And this is the story of what came next. I wasn't always like this. I used to answer their calls on the first ring. Used to Venmo my mom $150 for groceries every other week. Used to fill up the gas tank before they noticed it was low. Used to cover the Netflix bill, the Spotify family plan, the parking tickets my sister racked up and lied about. At one point, they owed me over $12,000. I never brought it up. Why would I? I was the good son, the dependable one. Oliver always has it handled, they'd say. We don't worry about him. They didn't worry because I did all the worrying for them. It started 2 years ago when Dad lost his job. He called it early retirement, but it was a forced layoff after too many client complaints. Mom called it a blessing. Now we get to spend more time together, she said. More time meant more bills. And more bills meant more texts like, "Hey, we're a little short this month. Could you maybe cover the heating bill? It's brutal this winter. Your sister had some issues with her card. Can we borrow your backup?" It never stopped. The $5,200 rent deal I'd set up was supposed to help them float, subsidized by my own landlord, a client who owed me a favor. And yet, they still wanted more. My sister, Claire, moved back in just until she got on her feet. That was 14 months ago. She brought her boyfriend too, Max. He had 2 jobs, vaping and playing FIFA. They slept in my old room. Said it felt nostalgic. I laughed the first time I saw them in bed, my childhood posters still on the walls. It felt like they'd colonized my ghost. Then things started disappearing. First it was small, a $100 Amazon gift card I'd left on the dining table for Dad's birthday. Then $300 vanished from the joint emergency account I'd set up to help them out. I asked once, gently. Dad got pissed. "We're not thieves, Oliver. Don't act like your money gives you the right to police us." I dropped it, but I started paying attention. That's when I found the Facebook post. It was Claire. She'd uploaded a selfie in a restaurant, not just any restaurant. Germain, the upscale French place she used to call stupid expensive. In the caption, "My baby always spoils me, #date night, #real men pay." In the background of the shot, half blurred, was my mother, sitting at the next table, laughing, holding a wine glass. My stomach sank. I reverse searched the reservation list using a dummy email I'd made for Dad years ago to manage online bookings. There it was, for guests. Dinner for $480, charged to the same card I used to pay their rent. I printed the receipt, but I wasn't ready yet. I wanted to see how deep it went, so I let it continue. The next week, Claire asked if I could help with her credit situation. She said she'd ruined her score because of an abusive ex who opened fake accounts under her name. I nodded sympathetically, then ran a soft check on her history using a contact at a loan firm. No fraud. No fake accounts. Just for unpaid by now, pay later debts, all for luxury skincare and concert tickets. All under her name. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Then the worst part, the humiliation. Dad posted a joke video to the family WhatsApp group. Me walking out of a store with a bag of groceries. He zoomed in and added a sticker that said, "Our errand boy." He captioned it, "Guess who's picking up dinner again? Thanks, wallet." Everyone laughed. Aunt Lydia sent a crying laughing emoji. Uncle Paul wrote, "Glad someone remembers their role in the family." Mom didn't say a word. "Claire?" She replied with, "Tell him to grab oat milk too. I'm out." I didn't respond. I just saved everything. Screenshotted the group chat. Exported the thread. Uploaded the video. Archived it. The final straw came a week later. I got a notification. My name had been used to open a new utility account. Same address, their apartment, but I had just unlinked my card. I called the provider. They said the account had been reopened online with a saved version of my ID. I checked the browser history on Dad's old iPad the next time I was over. There it was, my email, my password, autofilled. They were stealing from me, digitally, repeatedly, without shame. That's when I realized. They didn't see me as family. They saw me as an ATM that says, "I love you," after each withdrawal. The final scene before the explosion? I came over for what was supposed to be a quiet dinner. Mom was stirring soup, humming to herself. Dad sat watching TV. Claire and Max were playing some loud TikTok video. On the counter was an envelope. It had my name on it. Inside, a single sticky note. "Don't expect us at your wedding. We're busy." No explanation. No context. Just their final act of pettiness. I looked up. Dad didn't flinch. "Thought you'd want it in writing," he said, sipping his beer. Claire laughed. "We're going to the Algarve that weekend. Priorities, bro." That was it. That was the moment the switch flipped. I smiled, left quietly, then burned every bridge they thought I'd never dare touch. They didn't know I was coming. The dinner invite had gone out to close family only, but I'd already intercepted the message. Mom accidentally sent it to the old group thread, the one she forgot I was still in. I saw the date, the time, the guest list. They were calling it a celebration of us. Us. As in, everyone but me. It was happening Saturday, at the same restaurant where they burned through my credit card last time. Private room. Pre-ordered menu. Champagne on arrival. I RSVP'd through a fake name. Then booked the adjacent table under mine. Not my first ambush, but it was going to be my last. I brought backup. Claire's ex. His name's Theo. The one she swore cheated on her, assaulted her, ruined her life. He was tall, soft-spoken, and nothing like she described. When I reached out to him with screenshots and audio files from her hard drive, her own evidence folders, he didn't even ask why. He just said, "Tell me when and where." We met 30 minutes before dinner. I handed him the printouts, voice recordings, and copies of the messages she'd faked about him. He brought something I didn't expect, a restraining order draft he never filed. He'd been scared of her, not the other way around. He tucked the documents into a black folder and nodded once. "Let's break their twisted game," I said. "The hostess tried to stop us." I smiled, showed her my ID, and said, "My name's on the reservation next door. I'll be joining family." We entered together. My mom's wine glass froze halfway to her lips. Claire dropped her phone. "Dad?" He just blinked, like someone had hit him with a power outage to the brain. "Oliver," he said, standing up too quickly. "This is the perfect timing," I said. "Thanks for reserving a seat." I pulled out a chair. Theo sat down next to me. I dropped a flash drive on the table. "Let's talk about family," I said. I started with the video. I mirrored it to the restaurant's TV screen. Claire's voice, stitched together from her audio folders, the one she never thought I'd find. In one clip, she said, "If Oliver ever gets married, I hope they leave him at the altar." In another, distorted but traceable, "He's not family. He's funding. That's different." My mother gasped. My father slammed his fist on the table, but it didn't stop the playback. Then came the screenshots. Claire's edited texts, presented side by side with the originals. One thread where she pretended I called her a parasite altered from a conversation where I said, "I hope you're okay." Theo opened his folder, laid down her plan in full. Photos. Notes. A timeline she wrote in her own words titled, "If he leaves me." Item number 1. Leak fake assault accusation. Item number 2. Send screenshots to his employer. Item number 3. Destroy him with sympathy. My father stood up again. This is disgusting, he snapped. Where did you get this? I looked him dead in the eye. Your old laptop. The one you gave her. She never wiped the drive. He looked at Claire. She was pale. Frozen. I wasn't done. I'd like to introduce another guest, I said. From the entrance walked in Marta, the landlord whose name was on the $5,200 rent deal. She held a clipboard. She'd printed the account history and the forged lease renewal that Dad submitted last month, the one that still used my digital signature. I didn't sign this, I said. I revoked access weeks ago. She nodded. And yet someone printed it, scanned it, and backdated the file to make it look valid. My mom's wine glass slipped from her fingers and shattered on the floor. I looked at Dad. You forged my signature on a legal document. You owe us everything, he hissed. We gave you a life. I stood up slowly. No. You gave me debt. Silence. And the kind of damage you have to unlearn in therapy. Then I pulled out the final piece. The sticky note. I'd scanned it. Enlarged it. Printed it on a glossy card. Don't expect us at your wedding. We're busy. I held it up like a courtroom exhibit. This is how you RSVP'd. So let me return the favor. I dropped 3 envelopes on the table. Inside. Legal notice of utility disconnection. Car title transfer documents. The vehicle now listed under my name. A donation certificate made in their name. Their car, gifted to a shelter that helps abuse survivors. The room fell silent. Then Theo added, calmly. She framed me. Lied to all of you. And I'm filing a civil suit tomorrow. Claire finally screamed. I hate you, she shrieked at me. Dad lunged toward me. Marta stepped in front of him. You're lucky the lease fraud isn't being reported today, she said coldly. I turned to the staff. Apologies for the scene. We'll be leaving. But before I walked away, I leaned toward my father. Do me a favor, I said. Next time you write a note, don't stick it to my fridge. Stick it to your own mirror. The fallout was immediate. The night after the dinner, Claire's ex, Theo, posted a thread. Screenshots. Recordings. Dates. Everything she'd done to him. Everything she'd planned. Within an hour, it was trending in our city. By morning, it had reached her job. By noon, she didn't have one. That afternoon, I received a single message from her. You turned everything upside down. I didn't reply. I just forwarded it to Theo, who added it to his court folder. Dad went underground. His Facebook disappeared. His LinkedIn went dark. But not before I sent an anonymous tip, with documentation to his old employer about the forged lease. Marta followed through. Reported him for digital fraud. The police haven't pressed charges yet. But the investigation is open. Meanwhile, the utilities at their apartment? Disconnected. I waited exactly 72 hours after the confrontation to hit the kill switch. Electricity, off. Gas, off. Internet, off. The silence must have been deafening. They had 2 options. Find new housing. Or finally admit who kept the lights on for the last 5 years. They chose option 3, cry on Facebook. My mom's post read. Family should forgive, not destroy. You don't cut off the people who raised you just because of mistakes. The comments were mixed. Some relatives offered the usual pity. So sorry you're going through this. Others didn't. One cousin replied. Didn't you once say Oliver wasn't invited to Christmas because you didn't want to deal with his face? That comment got 340 likes. Another added. So forgiveness starts after the free rent ends? Got it. Mom deleted the post within an hour. Too late. I'd already screenshotted the whole thing and added it to my public archive. Yes, I went public. Created a full Google Drive folder. Named it. This is what family looks like. Inside. Video of Dad at the restaurant shouting at a woman half his age. Side-by-side screenshots of Claire's forged messages. The sticky note. Center frame. Proof of $27,000 in payments over 3 years. Audio of my dad saying, you owe us everything. I didn't scream. Didn't beg for sympathy. I let the facts bleed out slowly, neat, cold, undeniable. I posted the link on Reddit, then on Twitter, then anonymously submitted it to a local blog called Quiet Cutoffs, a community for people who go no contact with toxic families. It blew up. Within days, I was being asked to do podcast interviews. One YouTuber with 700K subscribers called it the most surgical family breakdown I've ever seen. I didn't speak publicly, not once. The story spoke for itself. My phone exploded with calls. Dad left a voicemail that started calm, then spiraled. You're turning people against us. You've destroyed your own name. No one's going to love a man who turns on his family. That one I saved. Labeled it, Final Threat. Claire sent 3 texts. You win. Good luck with your perfect little wedding. I'm going to sue you for defamation. She didn't. Why? Because 2 days after her threat, I posted something new. A photo of the donation certificate for the car I took back, framed, hanging on the wall of a women's shelter in Portland. Caption: For every time I was told I only existed to serve. Now my name helps people who actually matter. The shelter med me. Asked if I wanted to volunteer. I said yes. That same day, I unlinked every account ever associated with my family. Bank cosign? Gone. Phone plan? Cancelled. Apple Family sharing? Removed. Even the old HBO Max login my dad still used, deactivated mid-episode. I removed every digital and financial tie to them. And in their place, I built something new. I launched a Substack. In case they ask why, stories of invisible children, silent scapegoats, and polite exit wounds. Within 2 weeks, 9,000 subscribers, 3 essay features, 1 syndication deal. The second post was called The Sticky Note That Started a Revolution. I opened with a single line. They said they were busy on my wedding day, so I got busy making sure they'd never attend anything else again. They never made it to the wedding. Of course, they tried. A week before the date, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address, but the handwriting was unmistakable, my mother's. Inside, a printed email thread, one between her and a local pastor she knew from when I was a kid. She was begging him to intervene, to help bring her son back to the fold. In her words, he's being brainwashed by internet strangers. He's lost. We just want to see our boy get married. There was no apology, no mention of what they'd done. Just this fantasy where I was the one who'd gone off script. The pastor never responded. I framed that letter, hung it in my new home office. Next to it, a plaque that reads, Busy. Forever. The wedding was simple. Just 42 guests. No drama. No blood relatives. My wife walked down the aisle in gold, not white, because we decided we weren't going to pretend this was some fairy tale. It was war-earned. And we dressed like survivors. When we said our vows, I didn't promise to love her forever. I promised to love her loudly. To never go silent the way I did with my family. To never ask her to shrink so I could grow. My best man was Theo, Claire's ex. Yeah, we became actual friends. He ended his speech with this. Some people are born into families. Others claw their way into one. I'd choose this one any day. The applause felt louder than it should have. Maybe because it was the first time I believed it. I got one final attempt from my father. 3 days after the wedding, I received a voicemail. No hello. No congrats. Just him, breathing heavily. Then, you're making a name for yourself now. But don't forget, your last name still comes from me. That was it. His version of a threat. As if legacy was a leash. I uploaded it to my Substack. Caption: When the man who abandoned you still thinks he owns your initials. That post went viral. People started tagging me in photos of torn-up sticky notes. One therapist printed the article and hung it in her office. I realized then I hadn't just survived them. I'd rewritten the ending. I never saw Claire again, but I did get a letter from her lawyer. She wanted the car back, the one I donated. Said it was emotionally distressing to lose something symbolic. I mailed back one thing. A USB drive. On it, the video of her laughing with Max in my childhood bedroom, saying, Oliver's basically my walking credit card. It's kind of cute. No reply after that. 6 months later, I opened a new business account. Not a tech startup. Not a podcast. A publishing imprint. Name: Sticky Note Press. Tagline: We print stories the family won't. First book? My own. Titled, Do Not Expect US at Your Wedding. We're Busy. Dedication page. To the version of me who stayed silent. He deserved better. The book hit number 3 on small nonfiction charts. I didn't do a book tour, but I did one interview, local radio. When they asked me, would you ever reconcile? I smiled and said, I did reconcile. With the truth. They were never my people. I changed my number the next day. No announcement. No text blast. Just silence. I stood at the post office, held the old SIM card over the trash, and let it fall. No one even knew it was gone. That's when it hit me. They weren't calling anymore. Not because they understood. Because they finally realized. I don't respond to ghosts. I live quietly now. New apartment. No shared mailboxes. No shared accounts. No shared pain. My wife and I keep Sunday mornings sacred. We drink strong coffee, sit on the balcony, and sometimes, when a sticky note flutters off a neighbor's fridge and lands on ours, we both laugh. Because now, when I see those yellow squares, I don't think of family. I think of fire. And how sometimes, it's not enough to cut the cord. You have to burn the script.